If you're looking for an affordable sub $2,000 fat tire kind of adventure e-bike, well, you're gonna wanna stay tuned because today we're talking about the Alpha from HeyBike. This is a newer offering from them and a very impressive bike in their collection. So let's get into the specs and then we'll talk about how it rides. Now the Alpha will come in at $16.99 standard retail pricing here in the US, and that's kind of how you see it here with the rack, fenders, lights, all those details that we'll get into. But at the time of this video, it is actually on sale, so you can find a discount if you have a little bit of time on your side and you want to be patient to see what deals they're offering around different holidays or just seasonal opportunities. Now the Alpha will be available in two different frame styles, the step-through model that you see here and a high step or step over model as well. The step through fits about up to 6'1", whereas the step over kind of accommodates up to 6'3", and a lot of that lands with the overall seat height when raised all the way up in max extension. The step through model is about 36 inches for overall height, whereas the step over will be just over 38 inches. So for those taller riders, you might be looking for the step over model. Now, before we get into the drive unit and battery, we'll talk about some of the other accessories on this bike. It does have the fenders, the lights, and a rear tail light as well. That does function as a brake light, and there are turn signals even. So a lot of those creature comfort amenities that we're looking for when it comes to riding around town year round. Additionally, that rear rack's on there. And the overall load capacity of the Alpha is about 400 pounds for the max load capacity. So, I mean, between rider and gear, that's quite a bit of stuff that you can bring with you, which is nice, especially if you're looking to take it camping and maybe bring a ice chest, maybe a fishing pole, load some stuff on the back and get out to those nice creek spots or lakes that are a little bit harder to drive to. The Alpha weighs in just shy of 72 pounds, which we'll talk about how that impacts the rider feel, which it might be different than what you would expect with such a high overall weight. Now it does have an 8-speed rear derailleur. It's a Shimano Altus 8-speed, and there are hydraulic disc brakes that use mineral oil, and they do have a brake light switch function wired into them. So when you grab those, that rear light is going to get brighter, which, just like turn signals, great things to have when you're cruising around town. Now getting into the drive unit and battery of the Alpha, the real meat of this bike, really what makes this bike enjoyable to ride, is a collaborative Mevice and HeyBike drive unit. Again, this is a mid-drive, has 500 watts power and 105 Newton meters peak torque. So it's a very powerful drive unit that is, relatively quiet while cruising around for such a high torque output motor. Typically, those are a little bit louder. So this one is impressive with a low tone. It's not too loud, and it does have plenty of power, which we'll talk about when we get out riding. Now, HeyBike has named these mid-drive units their Galaxy eDrive system, and we'll have a link down below so you can see what they have to say and read in on their thoughts, but we'll share a summation of that as we talk about the mid-drives and the natural pedaling feel and why and what that has to offer to an electric bike, and why we tend to favor mid-drives and torque sensors personally here at Electric Bike Journal. It does have a 680 watt-hour battery, which can do up to 60 miles of range, and that will be impacted obviously which pedal assist mode you're in. But with a bike like this, mid-drive, the torque sensor, having the gears, it really can go a long way in higher pedal assist modes when you're actually pedaling and using your gearing ratios to have a efficient pedaling opportunity as opposed to just using the throttle sitting back and enjoying the ride in a different way. So wrapping up the specs before we jump into a ride experience, this is a class 2 or 3 electric bike, so you do have that quarter turn throttle up here on the handlebars, which makes things really nice to use, and we'll talk about how to use that appropriately with this mid-drive. And it does have pedal assist support up to 28 miles per hour in the pedaling mode. So class 2 with the throttle, 20 miles per hour, class 3 just pedaling up to 28 miles per hour, which is really nice and a cool balance between the two systems. Additionally, there is a suspension fork up front to bring a little bit of comfort to those more off-road terrain, bumpy roads. pedals, and there are plenty of bottle mounts located on the frame there to be able to put a bottle cage on, mount a lock, you know, some different accessories that utilize those. So it's nice that they actually exist on there and you're not just fully dependent on the rear rack. Additionally, there are mounts up on the head tube for a front basket or some sort of front rack system as well. Well, that's enough of the specs on the Alpha. What's more important is how it rides, the power, the range, all the things we'll discuss here as we get out for the ride experience. All right, well, getting out on the HeyBike Alpha, this is just pedaling with it off right now. Yeah, I made a comment about max insertion or minimum insertion of the seat post. So this is all the way up. I'm 6 foot tall. I do find it a little bit low. Again, I feel as though it caters the kind of more leisure riding, less sporty, but with a mid-drive and a torque sensor, it is something that, you know, it's nice to get full leg extension. Now I do have longer legs, and the step over model, high step model would be a little bit better, I think, for me at my height, but this isn't, you know, ruining the ride. 72-pound bike, fat tires, you know, it is a little bit of a bike to pedal, and it does have that weight, you know, and like the resistance from the tires, but it's not awful on smooth pavement like this. And, you know, I still have plenty of gears to use to pedal around. So if it does die, you know, you'll be going slow, but it's not the end of the world. Pedal assist mode 0. Let's go 1. And I mean, I was rolling at 10 miles an hour, it said, with the bike off. And in pass mode 1, we're gonna see the, you know, the most efficient usage of the battery, the drive unit, but you can definitely feel that power kicking in. Well, we've been going at about 15, 16 miles an hour in pedal assist mode 1 this whole time. And we're gonna click it up in pass 2. And you can really see this bike get cruising. Now, if I'm going through the neighborhoods like this and zipping around, you know, 15, 16, 17 miles an hour, those are gonna be great speeds to have a nice leisure casual ride. And you can see with the fat tires, that suspension fork, all of these bumps and cracks in the road, super smooth, not causing major problems for myself. Ride's going smooth. Now, pedal assist mode 2, clicking up into a higher gear, it wants to go 22 miles an hour. As I'm slowing down, I'm gonna shift into a higher gear. When you grab the brakes, it's gonna cut off power from that drive unit. There's a little indicator that pops up on the screen. It says red light, a little hazard warning, and gets you in a lower gear. So as you get pedaling again, the motor kicks in. It's gonna, you see that power meter come up. I'm spinning quick again, and now I can shift back into that gear that I wanna be in. But like I said, pedal assist mode 2, this bike is cruising pretty easily, 21, 22 miles per hour in a higher gear. I'm not putting in much effort, and I still have 3 more pedal assist modes. So this is not, each pedal assist mode is not, how do you say, throttled or limited based off of your speed. It's just a power curve. So every pedal assist mode goes 0 to 100, but that 100 is adjusted on the curve, the mapping of the drive unit based off of torque output. So 1 is not gonna have 105 Newton meters of torque, 2 won't, 3 won't, 4 won't, and then 5 will. And you can go into the app and you can change things and kind of set up the tuning for yourself. But I would encourage you to always leave at least 1 and 2, if not just 1, at a lower rate. So that way, you know, if you're getting through your battery and you're like, wow, I still have a few miles to get home and I don't want to pedal this off, you have that lower pedal assist mode. You might go slower, but you're not going to be pulling all that energy out of your battery. It is doing quick math while you ride to let you know how much battery you have based off of your speed how much you're pushing into the battery. So I had to stop here. If I don't go anywhere, 97% battery. But as I get back up into pedaling and I'm pushing into it and I'm getting that energy out, you know, it's gonna drop into that 80% rather quickly, because now it's taking energy to get me up to speed. And now that we're cruising along, going fast, all the way up in that high gear there, as I relax and start pedaling softer, so that means I'm not putting as much personal power into the cranks. It's a gentle pedal. That battery's gonna do that math, regulate, and reflect. Right now I went from that upper 90% range in pedal assist mode 1, lower 90, high 80s in pedal assist mode 2, and now it's the low 80s in pedal assist mode 3. So you can see how it impacts the battery to use the higher modes, just as it would on any other electric bike. I think they do a good job. I will say, back to my comment about the ebike, the Galaxy e-drive systems, this drive unit is quiet. I literally can't hear it over the tires. And I know the microphone's gonna be doing its thing to cut wind noise out and all those things. So it's hard to accurately depict that for you. So I'll just verbally share my experience. And over here, it's not much of a hill, pretty shallow hill, but in the grass. And we're gonna go click into that, you know, lower gear, a little bit easier to pedal. You can see a nice slope there on the lawn. And I don't wanna dig any big ruts. So I want to keep this in a nice low gear and have good traction. So in pedal assist mode 1, getting up this hill, make sure I'm in the lowest gear there. You can hear that motor kick in. I'm not trying super hard, but it is slower. So we'll go ahead and do that again. Kick up into a higher mode, maybe 3 again. Go in that same spot, we're in the same gear. Oh, not even trying, and it just cruises right up. And 5. Oh, okay, it does get easier. Of course it would. 105 Newton meters of torque. That hill could be 10 times longer, and I am gonna wanna cruise on that for a long time because it's very easy to get through. For us, when we think about who's gonna be interested in this bike, I think it is, you know, open greenbelt paths like this, maybe a gravel or a compacted dirt version of something like this, or maybe billy goating out in the woods. But I think that comfort is gonna be a big deal, of which very comfortable. I personally think, you know, you could almost get rid of the throttle entirely because pedaling is very smooth, very comfortable. And if you did so, you can get a standard full-size grip on there. Our favorite, likely, the Ergon grips that we talk about so much, would really make this a lot more comfortable. These are kind of a firmer rubber. Nice and wide though, which I like because it's not over clamping my hand. I know when I'm working on things, using tools, hands get a little bit tired, so a nice big wide grip like that makes it easy to grab onto. The brakes at full speed, coming up to the stop with busy cars. Plenty of stopping power. All right, now the part that everyone's been looking for. Of course, we want to know, going fast, all the way up in that highest gear, pedaling very casually, not putting a lot of effort in. 25, 26 miles an hour with just almost gravity-fed pressure pushing into those pedals. So I'm in the highest gear, and I'm actually gonna pedal hard. I mean, having the drive unit support me 29, 28 miles per hour, very effortlessly. Any faster, if I was pedaling at this speed, I would feel as though I'm over pedaling, and that's no fun. A nice little path. This is kind of what I'm envisioning a lot of people wanting to ride this on, and this type of path.
Nice hard pack, gravelly, grassy, dirt. That's super bumpy, and on a full rigid on my gravel bike, I'm definitely shuddering teeth, but on this, I can talk normally, and these hard bumps don't really throw me around too much. As at 17 miles an hour, I feel like, again, for a lot of people, this is really fast on this type of terrain, and they might not want to be going that quick. Well, we hope you enjoyed the ride experience. You know, as we've been cruising around, we got about 7 miles on it just now. And this little loop we've been doing, exploring the neighborhoods, and battery's sitting about 70% or so. We'll just pull over right up here and kind of see what it bounces back to in pedal assist mode 1. Now we've been going through all the pedal assist modes, running up some of those hills, going fast, kind of dancing all over, and it's sitting about 79-ish% overall use for about 7 miles. So if we were to factor that out equally, doing the exact same type of riding that we're doing, you know, multiply that times 5, about 35-ish miles doing what we've been doing, which is probably not a normal day for most riders. So I think that up to 60 miles in pedal assist mode 1 is going to be ambitious. You're going to want to make sure your tire pressure's all the way up there. But know that if you're using 3, 4, 5 on those pedal assist modes and really going crazy, running around, you know, low end maybe 30 miles, maybe a low high around 35, 40. So, but yeah, overall, it's been super great. So let's get back over and talk about who we think this bike is for.
Now, as you can see, the Alpha is a very impressive bike. I think coming in under $2,000, it really does have a lot to offer. Not many fat tire bikes are as smooth and quiet and ultimately as powerful as a bike like this. There are a few that we could think of. We'd love to hear your thoughts of what you think another bike is. There's another one from a company that starts with a V. We'll let you decide, but let us know in the comments if you think there's another bike like this that would be pretty competitive. But as a whole, the MiBice Galaxy eDrive system, we think it's really nice. I think for mid-drives under $2,000, there aren't a lot of options out there. And I think for someone that's looking for a natural pedaling feel, maybe they're a little adverse to e-bikes because of the hub drive and the extra weight in the back, and you know, just seeing so many people using the throttle exclusively, maybe they're not as interested in that type of bike, and having one like this with, you know, plenty enough gears, good gearing ratio, and a very powerful high torque mid-drive to be able to get out onto some, you know, backcountry roads and bring some gear with them, go out and explore, have a day of it, and with that 60-mile range, really have a good experience and not be worried about battery range and how much battery you have. We do think it fits and makes sense for a lot of those types of riders. I think, you know, people that are maybe travelers, living on the road, RV life, you know, they just want something around so they can park, set up home base, hop out, and not have to worry about speed, battery, being able to bring some stuff with them, spend their time in town or go out and explore. It's a perfect rig to bring on the back of an RV, throw it on a good quality RV rated, high load capacity bike rack, and be able to shuttle and bring one of these around would be you know, ideal for someone looking to do that and enjoy their summer that way. Now, getting into a few things that maybe we could see evolve and just be perfected in future generations. I think the sizing is a little misleading. You know, this one is rated for up to 6'1". Here's your saddle height, but I have that seat post all the way up to the minimum you know, insertion depth, and I'm not getting full leg extension. And on a bike that does favor pedaling and is intended for you to pedal first, you really want to be getting proper leg extension. Otherwise, after 20 miles, 10 miles, even 5 miles, you can find yourself getting a little sore in the hips, as well as the wider saddle. For myself, I'm not a fan of that. I like more narrow saddles. I don't like having my hips pushed out while pedaling. And again, I think these are things that we think about when it comes to pedaling bikes, and maybe an e-bike company not HeyBike exclusive, but many of them that have a lot of Class 2 bikes with throttles, they are approaching it more from the comfort side. So if you feel like you fit into more of the comfort leisure side of riding, those aren't things to worry about. If you're looking to ride a little bit more aggressively or are coming off of decades of riding a regular bike, you may find those details a little bit uncomfortable at first, but a seat post and a different saddle are very easy things to do. Again, if you've been on a bike for 10, 15, 20 years, it's probably something that you have changed on your own bike at least once over the years. So not major issues. Outside of that, there isn't a whole lot that is really worth mentioning in regards to dissatisfaction. I mean, for under $2,000, it's doing everything that it's intended to do, who they chose it for, and I think represents what their goal was very well. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. If I don't have an answer, I'll be sure to reach out to HeyBike and try to prompt them into either responding or suggesting something for me to share back. And if you think that the Alpha might be the right bike for you, let us know. We're very curious to see how you would use a bike like this. As we continue to do reviews, you know, we're trying to figure out who the right riders are, who are interested in different types of bikes, so we can, you know, approach them with that mindset to see how they would perform for that type of rider. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.